evening. It is Tuesday here in the United States. We are on the Jadasa Live broadcast located here in St. Louis, Missouri, but globally across social media platforms and blog talk radio. I am your host, Cynthia Bennett, and here on this podcast, we talk about issues dealing with abuse and neglect to raise awareness, provide resources, and offer encouragement and hope through educating and edifying our communities locally and globally. I want to thank you, our viewers and listeners, and ask that if this podcast helps you in any way, you or your family or your friends and associates, we ask that the Jadisa organization is asking you to take time to go to our website at jadisa.org or our social media pages just to see the causes we raise for teens, women, and their children. We want you to be sure to hit like and share. And if you go out on the YouTube, we ask you to subscribe to our channel. You never know who on your timeline may need this information either now or maybe later. So for more information about our resources and any questions that you may have, you can visit our website at jadasa.org, jadasa.org, jadasa.org. But before we get started, I just want to read a few announcements. I'm going to put them down here and add them in the stream. Let me see if it is going to add. So my website, we have been having internet problems, but it's finally coming up. We have our weekly support group session, Sister Sis. It is every Wednesday from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. We are asking you, the women are learning a lot. They're talking things out. They're understanding. They're coming together, collaborating. And not only just the women, I as myself as well, I am learning from them. We are learning from each other. This is just an opportune time for you to come out and share and spend time with other women, and we just come together and just corroborate, stories and experiences to help. And sometimes just to get away from the kids, because we do have childcare. We have some of our advocates who are here, and if you bring your kids, we have them in the room with the kids, and we provide snacks and games of that nature so that you can spend that hour with the other women. So it is tomorrow from 5 to 6 p.m. It is every Wednesday. So I just want to put that out there. And last but not least, from today's announcements, developer and him. This is our quarterly workshop where we deal with program entrepreneurship, building apps. We have support group sessions. We have business owners that come and share with our kids to know that they can either go into the tech field if they choose to, or they can be an entrepreneur, but to make money. We talk about personal finance. We have a lot of women who take time out to come in and volunteer their services so we can share with our young ones and our young minds to let them know that you can be an entrepreneur if you choose to, and then just give you a feel to go into if you want to go into the tech field. And we have support group sessions where we watch videos and we talk about some of the things our children go through, like the attitudes and with the social media etiquette and understanding healthy and unhealthy relationships. And with that being said, I am in March going to various high schools in the districts in the high school, and I am speaking before the General Assembly of all the girls and the boys, talking about healthy versus healthy relationship. And I think this is a very opportune time, and I'm going to share that more in tonight's segment. So I just wanted to share those brief announcements with you. Why did I forget how to do that? Oh, I want to share these brief announcements. So I'm back here. So PROM season is coming up. PROM season is coming up. Everybody, if you didn't want to go, you win, or you wish you could go, or whatever. But PROM season is coming up right around the corner. This is tomorrow. Tomorrow is March. Oh my God. Tomorrow is March. That is the start of PROM season. So for many teens, it means picking out that perfect dress, those shoes, thinking about how you're going to get your hair done and your nails and your makeup and your eyelashes and just really glamming it up for that night. Thinking about who you're going to go to this dance with, or who's going to ask you if you're going to go with your boyfriend or your friend, or just someone that you are just going to go together, or maybe it's a group of girls that rent the limo and they just go together and just hang out. But this special event can create a lifetime of memories. I remember my prom. But some experiences, unfortunately, can also carry a lifetime of consequences. And we know a lot of things happen. This is a season where there's not a lot of chaperones. Of course, there's chaperones at the dance, but we're talking about the before and the after activities. And so this annual dance season can be a reminder that some teens are in violent situations. Everybody is not in a happy, healthy situation. And so teen dating violence, this is February 28th. Today is February 28th. Not only is my 24th wedding anniversary, happy anniversary, honey. This is also the end of Teen Dating Awareness Month. And so teen dating violence is when teens suffer physical, sexual, verbal, and emotional abuse from the person they are dating. And I also want to include in that date rape as well, because it happens, people, parents, it happens. Those constant text messages and voicemails. Where are you? Who are you with? What are you doing? These are telling signs to be leery of and to take notice of when your date feels like you and he, or he and she, or she and she, and he, or whatever, should never be disconnected. Everybody has a downtime. Everybody has some times that they want to, or feel like they want to have time to their self, to think, to regroup, to just meditate, to just breathe. Nobody wants to be around somebody 24/7 all day, every day. Everybody has some type of time when they just want to disconnect and pull the plug. And so in 2011, President Barack Obama declared February as National Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. Statistics shows 1 in 3 teens have experienced dating violence. This justifies the need to have an awareness month. So again, as I stated in the intro, when I was talking about the announcements, this March, I have several General Assembly sessions with high school districts to present this data for preventive and awareness measures. Because if you don't know, the numbers are steadily increasing. The numbers are rising. It looks nice when you see these beautiful prom pictures and all these expensive dresses that they're paying for, and how they're dressing and looking nice and beautiful and stuff. So it's happening. Teen dating violence, just like any other violence, can have long-term effects. Teens suffering from dating abuse often end up being victims of long-term problems like alcoholism, eating disorders, suicidal thoughts, violent thoughts, and so forth and so on. Different things can cause them to have long-term, even after the relationship is over, the person is going on, you going on, they went off to college, you went off to college, or whatever you decide to do after high school. Those effects of what happened during that time can still be lasting and lingering and long-term. And so we have to be careful with that. It widely affects our youth. Again, as I said, in the U.S., it says 1 in 3. That's 33%. So if you got 3 people that you're in the room with, statistics shows 1 of you have been in a dating violence relationship. It says in the U.S., 33% of male and female adolescents are victims of sexual, physical, or emotional dating abuse. Also, with this come STD scares. STD, for those who may not know, and I'm pretty sure you do, sexually transmitted disease scares. Statistics shows teen girls subject to abuse are 6 times more likely to become pregnant or contract an STD or an STI, which is a sexually transmitted infection. They are 6 times more likely to become pregnant because they're in this relationship. And, sometimes, most times we confuse love with that. And so we're going to talk about those. These are things that comes out of this teen dating violence. And why I'm bringing this up, because again, as I say, prom season is coming around the corner. We can dress all this up. We can put on those nice, beautiful wedding, some of them are wedding gowns. We can put on those beautiful dresses, but we have to deal with stuff that's going on the inside. Out of that suicidal scares, this is shocking to me now. I did not know this. They say when you're dealing with teen abuse, a shocking 50% of young adults who experience physical or sexual abuse, including rape, have attempted suicide. Now, that is something we have to deal with. 50%. That is a big number. That means 50%. Out of 10, 5. Out of 2010. That's just staggering. I was just shocked. Teens can't handle that kind of stuff. Adults can't handle that kind of stuff when you're going through that type of a scenario. And so we need to, this is something I'm just wanting to talk about. I try to keep up with what's going on. Of course, I'm in the movement. And of course, anything that's dealing with any type of abuse or neglect, I am on top of it. I am monitoring, I'm watching it, but I've always liked to put it with the times. What's going on now? What's current now? We can always keep talking about, what physical abuse is and sexual. We already know the definitions of it. We already know, but we want to apply it into daily life. And what's the daily life? What's coming up? Prom. You're going to see a lot of pictures on social media, a lot of pictures on social media with prom and all this stuff. So let's talk about that because this is happening. Teens often confuse emotional abuse and jealousy with love. It's not love, sweetheart. That's not love. Emotional abuse, telling you, don't nobody want you but me. You might as well stay with me. I'm the only one that loves you and you can't do nothing. I can do it. That's emotional abuse. That's tearing down your self-esteem. That's tearing down your character. That's tearing down your stamina, your determination about who you are. And jealousy, we know, well, if I can't have you, look, let me tell you something. If I can't have you, nobody can have you. If somebody say that to you, you better hightail it out of there. Jealousy, it's not cute. Oh, he's just jealous because he want to be. No, sweetie, it's deeper than that. That's a red flag. It's all about power and control. And when somebody is jealous of somebody speaking to you, or you speaking to somebody, or they jealous because they looked at you, or you just said hi, or you asked them something, and all of a sudden they got these jealous tendencies. That is all about power and control because they want to be in control. And they want to have the power, and they want to usurp the power over you. And that's where that jealousy stems from. Possessiveness. Nobody owns anybody. So to spot the warning signs, here are some red flags. Change of behavior. All of a sudden, you see your friends, or you see your daughter or your son, they're getting with this new person, and they're going to the dance, the prom, and all of a sudden their behavior change. You're kind of distant, or secretive, or they weren't secretive before. They were always telling you things and talking to you and sharing with you, and all of a sudden they're resolved, they're distant, and they're reserved, and snapping at you. You ask one question and they change. Those are something that's going on. Distance, I talked about the isolation. Oh, with so-and-so, he said he didn't want me to go, so-and-so, or she said she didn't want me to go, she want me to just stay with them. No, those are red flags. Nobody should be isolated, because when you get somebody isolated, when you get somebody off away from their family and their friends, most time it's to do your bidding, whatever it is, because they got to get you away from your support system. And the way they do that is to isolate you. And kids are doing it now, even in high school and grade school. I've seen it. Lying. All of those, all of a sudden, you're lying where you're going. You're lying, just out of character. Changes in your character. Those are some of the red flags. And then, sometimes they say the statistics shows that some of the teams feel like they can't confide in people. And it says only a third, 1 in 3, 33% of teens in an abusive relationship feels like they couldn't confide in someone about the abuse, and they hesitated to seek help because they didn't want to expose themselves. Listen, sweetheart, let me tell you something. It ain't got nothing about being exposing yourself. Open up and tell somebody, because abusers, they thrive in darkness and secrecy. And most times, you teens, if you've been around grown folks, most times people see it anyway, or they suspect something. And your friends suspect something. So don't talk about you don't want to expose yourself. No, you speak up and tell, because the longer you hide that thing and you stay behind closed doors and you keep them hidden, they're going to keep doing what they're doing, and it's not going to help you. And then guess what? If you decide to walk away from it and they have that same characteristics and those behaviors, they become narcissists, then they're going to turn around and do it to the next person. And so you want to speak up and speak out, because abusers don't want to be told. They don't want to be found out. They always want to hide behind some type of charisma. Like, they're all of that in a bag of chips, and they're just so wonderful and nice. And they're just so mannerable. But they're Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and they know that, and they know you know that. And so they want you to remain in obscurity so they could continue to do what they are doing. And so, and most times they'll behave in such a way that when you try to tell somebody, because if you stay in it long enough and then you try to tell somebody, then people are like, well, wait a minute, he was doing this and he was doing that. And they don't hide. Don't hide. Don't keep them in darkness. Shine the light on it. Shine the light on them and what they're doing. Don't hide in that. And for teens who won't talk, you have some teens, maybe they're already introverts, and they're already quiet and reserved, and that's just their character. That's just their nature. That's nothing different about that with them. But you may feel something. You may feel like something is amiss or awry or something. Well, you know what? If they won't talk, look at some of the text messages. Look at some of their photos on on their social media accounts. Those give big clues. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words. You can look at some people and you can look at pictures and like, they don't look right. Or you can see some behaviors, or you can see some body language or facial expressions, or you could, come on. If you've been around as long as I have, and you're an adult, sometimes you can pick up on stuff by looking at pictures. They say that, and I'll say it again. A picture is worth 1,000 words. So, they don't want to talk. Look at some of those messages. Just kind of observe how they communicate on the phone, or how they communicate with their kids, their friends, or look at how they, respond when they come into the car from school or some kind of social gathering or social media accounts. Those are big clues. If they don't talk, if they don't want to talk, and that's their character, that they've always been quiet and reserved and introvert, then that's another way you can kind of look, especially if you are getting an uneasy feeling. And let me tell you, parents, if you get that uneasy feeling, you follow that thing. Don't just brush it aside and say, oh, that's just me. No. It's putting a check in you for a reason. It's putting a check. And we all know our kids. We know our kids for real. Because we know when people come and say something about our kids, we know, no, that ain't so-and-so. But, oh, yeah, running her mouth, yeah, that's her. You know your child. So we know when something is amiss, and that's not settling well with us. And don't don't just sweep it under the rug and say, oh, well, no, we don't want to do that. So during prom season, we often talk about the dangers of drunk driving and drinking and smoking and doing all of those things, and sex and all these things and just doing stuff, hookah bars and all. We talk about that, and which is certainly important. Unfortunately, instances of dating violence and bullying are even more likely to occur as high school seniors celebrate the end of their high school years. That could happen again. Like I said, prom time, everybody is putting their best foot forward. They're looking nice and stuff. And something may pop off while you away. First of all, you're away from mom and daddy. And then once you get out of the eyesight of the chaperones at the place where the event is being held, you're right there with that person. And so these things are happening. They are happening often. I don't want to see them. I don't want to hear about them, but we are hearing about them and we're going to. But there's some things we can do, not only just as parents, but as adults, as friends, as family members. We can share and talk to them. So parents and adults and stuff, don't be afraid to ask your teens about what's happening with their relationship. I would ask my daughter, hey, what's going on? So and so, and she'll tell me, and I, listen to it. Some of it may be alarming, but I don't give those facial expressions. I'll just kind of remain cool, calm, and collective and listen to it. But on the inside, I'm like, maybe, no, this ain't gonna work here. But because you want to keep that line of communication open, and they looking at you and they're gonna see how you respond. And if they do talk, that is a good thing, because I'm telling teenagers, them years between like 13 and 27, 28 or something, they have lost their minds. And for one, they don't even think you know what you're talking about. And so when you get that one child that will open up and stuff, keep that relationship open, keep it open, and just be open-minded, but always have some type of solution. How you going to tackle this thing? So getting that conversation going so you can educate your child about the difference between a healthy and unhealthy relationship is vital, and it will help them alleviate unnecessary trauma junk that we went through. Because we know what, a lot of stuff we went through, we shouldn't want our kids to go through. We went through them because of either out of ignorance, because we was just hard-headed or fast or whatever, we want to do our own thing or whatever, or or sometimes it's just no fault of our own. But whatever it is, we want to make sure that our kids don't have to deal with the drama and the trauma of what we've had to deal with. And we know how painful that was to live through that. And so they need to be encouraged to talk openly about respect. Oh my God. That is a big one. Respect for yourself, respect for others, consent. They need to know what that is, because I don't care what the person is doing. If they consent to do something, if that's what they do, they consent to do, that's what they consent to do. But if they decide to change their mind and say, no, they don't consent, then that is a wrap. Then you don't continue to push, then that becomes rape. Because once the person says no and you go past that no, that's an issue right there. And boundaries. We have to teach our kids about having boundaries for not only yourself, but you have boundaries where you don't let people cross. You don't let people cross certain boundaries in your area. And so the earlier they are exposed to what healthy relationships looks like, the better it is for them. So talking to our teens in our families, in our churches, in our communities is a perfect opportunity to promote healthy relationships among our adults. And so I just wanted to bring that awareness today, because Again, once this is the end of February, the last day of the month for February, which is also the last day of the Awareness Month, Teen Dating Awareness Month. And the awareness colors is orange. So when you see orange, think about the teens. And also, prom is coming up. Prom is not coming up. Prom is here. People are already looking for dresses and doing stuff, and prom is up. So I just wanted to bring this awareness out to keep it before our viewers about our teens. You know, we know this is a joyous occasion. Everybody is happy and excited and stuff, but there's a dark side that's always lurking, and we want to make sure that our teens are healthy and understand the difference between a healthy versus an unhealthy relationship. So if you or someone you know needs help, reach out and get help. You can reach us at our website at JADASA, JADASA.org, our social media website under JADASA under Facebook, or our Instagram, and then you can go to our YouTube page, JADASA Live, or you can call us at 1-800-292-2145. That is our 800 number, 1-800-292-2145. And our office number is 314-269-0100. 314-269-0100. You can find resources and support services also if you are on the social media. So, you know, of course, it's not stuck in St. Louis or Missouri or the United States. It's global. You can find resources and support and support services in more than 205 countries at the No More Global Directory. More than 205 countries at the No More Global Directory, and that is at nomoredirectory.org. nomoredirectory.org. So now I want to leave you with this. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, said the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you an expected end." And I want you to know that God is thinking good thoughts of us. He's always thinking peaceful thoughts. And he wants us to give us the end that he expects us to have and the end that you expect to have. You want an end of peace and love and joy. That's what God expects you to have. And that's what I want you to have too. And so remember, JADASA is a community-based organization, and you are the community. You are our global community, our local community, and our international and national community. Therefore, you are JADASA. Remember, it is JADASA 24/7, 365 days. With that being said, I want you to be safe, I want you to be well, and I want you to be whole. Good night. I'm trying to.